Hi, I'm Paul Maxfield, Executive Director of Children of Promise, and I'm so pleased today to have with us in our offices the founders of Children of Promise, Sidney and Jean Johnson, and I've asked them today to share a bit about their history and the history of Children of Promise. And so we'll start off with this first question. My friends, thank you for coming today. It's good to see you. Tell us a little bit about your life and experience as missionaries.
I became a Christian when I was age 21, and I felt my call to ministry almost at the same time. I came to Anderson College in 1948 and did 4 years in college and 3 years in seminary. My second year in seminary, I felt called to missions. And so worked out the missionary board, and we were sent to India in 1955.
And Jean, do you want to tell us a little bit about your call and how that happened, and then we'll pick back up with where you went.
My church was very much involved in my call. The women especially provided opportunities for me to widen my world. At the age of 16, I had a definite call to be a missionary. I didn't know where, I didn't know what to do, so I decided that I would take the classes at Anderson College to be a teacher, thinking that would be a good. And then I continued that until I finished. And then for 3 years, while he was in seminary at AU, I taught school in Washington School in Anderson for 3 years.
Okay, let's pick back up, Sidney. You said in 1955 you went to India.
Right.
Okay, then tell us a bit about what happened after that.
We sailed from New York on our fourth wedding anniversary, August 19, 1955. We arrived at the shelter in Cuttack, India on September the 22nd, 1955, after 30 days on a slow ship to India, and 48 hours from Bombay to Cuttack, from the west to the east coast. We served at the shelter for 18 years, and then after that we moved over to Bangkok.
Jean, would you like to share with us a little bit about the shelter and what your role was there?
As a young child, I sponsored a girl at the shelter from my congregation, and the church women helped us to raise money. It was $10 a month. So when we arrived at the shelter, I wanted to see the girl that we were sponsoring. But during our life as the shelter, we realized that the church there was ready to carry on. And the board had a policy that they would withdraw all of their missionaries, and we would turn everything over to the local church. And we left and moved to Bangkok, Thailand, and that was a real change for our kids who were all born in India, but we went to Bangkok, and a new life started there.
Wow. Now, before we pick up in Bangkok, I want to go back to the shelter a minute and say, this shelter is a Church of God girls' home, right? For girls that were destitute or orphaned. And you lived there 18 years as the directors of the orphanage, right? Did you serve as their parents during that time? Or tell us a little bit about how that worked.
Actually, they had a superintendent, and we worked with the superintendent. We were never in the actual decisions of the shelter. So that was our position.
You worked
But
with them.
you gave a lot of support to the Indian supervisor or
Oh,
superintendent.
yes, I gave a lot of
You worked
support.
closely with
Sure.
Very, very much, but that was not my responsibility. I kept books.
And I imagine you kept a lot of them. So let's pick it back up in Bangkok. What happened, why'd you go to Bangkok, and then tell us about the rest of your service time.
Jean mentioned that the missionary board was going to withdraw all the missionaries from India, but the time was ready for that. We knew that. We looked around and saw people that were doing things that could do whatever we were doing, and we had certain goals that we set for ourselves, and when we met those goals, we knew it's time to leave. And so we moved to Bangkok then. We didn't know where we were going when we left India. But then after 15 months, it was decided we'd go back to Bangkok and do an orbit ministry throughout Asia. Bangkok's the crossroads of Asia. You could be anywhere in Asia within 5.5 hours flying time. So that was a wonderful place to be to start this orbit ministry to all the countries of South and Southeast Asia.
Okay. So your time then in Bangkok was a broader ministry throughout Asia.
Yes.
And was it from that ministry then that you eventually retired? From that orbit ministry?
Yes.
Okay. And so I think in the next video, we want to hear how that orbit ministry eventually led into the development of Children of Promise. Okay? Thank you so much.